Greetings and salutations, everyone. Since Preacher is just around the corner in about a couple months or so, I thought I would put together this video to, in a sense, go over a few details in regards to the comics. This is basically just a basic guide video for those who are interested in checking out the comics. Now, if you are brand new to the world of comic reading, then you certainly have come to the right place. Now, I have no doubt that you probably have a lot of questions on your mind, and I certainly hope to address them all in this video. So according to the Wikipedia page, Preacher was a series from 1995 to 2000, and there is a total of 66 issues. Now, what do I mean by issues? 66 as in single issues. Now, single issues are generally about probably at most a little over 20 pages in a single issue. Now, if you are looking to hunting down the single issues, I would actually highly advise not to, because to my understanding, I don't think Vertigo, which is the publisher of the Preacher comic, I don't think that they have issued reprints as on a steady basis. So let's just say the single issues are probably going to be very difficult to hunt down. I know I've checked the Amazon page and I've maybe found about 2 or 3 single issues. You might have better luck than I did, but just to let you know, if you really do want to go that route, you might end up investing quite a bit of time hunting down these 66 issues, as well as you might end up forking over quite a bit of money, because generally single issues, especially if it's a pretty rare comic, it can get pretty pricey. You can also purchase the comic by means of what's called a trade paperback. Now, a trade paperback is much thicker than a single issue. And generally, the format of a trade paperback is there's about, I'd say, probably close to 10 single issues in one volume, because the way how trade paperbacks work is that it goes by volume. When it comes to Preacher, there is a total of 9 volumes in the entire series. And this is actually what I have in my Preacher collection, is the trade paperbacks. Now, judging by the retail prices off of Amazon, the trade paperbacks generally are going to run you about probably a range from $15 to a highest of maybe about $38. However, luckily you can find used copies of the volumes on Amazon. You could also probably find them at your local bookstore too. That's actually where I found a good majority of the volumes that I purchased, was through my local bookstore. Now, just a little note in regards to the trade paperbacks. There is actually one volume in the trade paperbacks that is not necessarily a required reading, and that would be volume 4, titled Ancient History. So if you really wanted to, you could technically skip this book. Although yet, I mean, if it's basically a collection of backstories on both the Saint of Killers and Arseface, and also a little story, in a sense, a flashback of Jody and TC. So you've basically, it's just a book that contains just those 3 characters, and it's just, like I said, backstory. So like I said, it's not necessarily required reading, but if you certainly like the Saint of Killers or Arseface or even Jody and TC and are curious to read a little more story about them, then I would certainly recommend picking up this book for your collection. And then the next avenue you have is what is called books. Now, there are a total of 6 books in the entire series. So basically, the real difference between the books and the trade paperbacks is that obviously it's only 6 books. So the stories are pretty much condensed into these books as opposed to laying it out in 9 volumes. And another difference is that the volume 4 that I mentioned earlier of Ancient History, that's actually broken up into fragments and kind of sprinkled throughout the 6 books. Then the next option there is what's titled as Absolute Preacher. And in a sense, these are basically hard-covered books, and there's a total of 3 volumes. So between these 67 single issues, all these issues are compressed into these 3 volumes. Now, if you are an avid collector or curious about collecting, these actually might be something really nice to have in your collection. And like I said, you have the whole entire series in 3 books. But the downside is to this is that you are probably going to be forking over, well, not probably, you are going to be forking over a pretty big penny for these 3 books, because if you look at it, they're going to run you about a little over $100 per book. So you do the math. So if you are completely brand new to reading comics and want to know what really is the best avenue, I personally recommend picking up the books because, like I said, it's only 6 and you have basically the entire series in 6 books, and it's, I'd say, generally much easier on your wallet too, because you're probably looking at a retail price of about $15 on Amazon, and that's basically for a brand new book. However, if you are looking for cheaper and don't mind buying gently used books, then you could certainly look for pre-owned books on Amazon, or even then your local bookstore might actually carry pre-owned copies of the books. So that's basically it, what I have to share in regards to basic knowledge on what to expect in terms of reading Preacher. Now, if there's anything that I have left out in this video, or if you have any additional questions, you can certainly comment down below. And thanks for watching. And until next time, dear friends, this is Cynical Lindsay, signing off.